Welcome back to Real Talk with Chuck and Pam. It's kind of a light week this week. However, there is a big blockbuster kind of movie out there. Actually, there are two, one for kids and one for adult children. I'm talking
Wait a
Paddington.
second. Wait a second.
What?
Yeah, one for kids, but the one for kids is also for adults.
Okay, well then, all right, thank you. I did not see that one, so I stand corrected then by the person who saw the movie. I'm talking about Paddington in Peru and Captain America. Is it Brave New World? Is that the name of it?
Brave New World, right, right.
Okay.
I would think of new, Brave New World, but no, it's Brave. Yeah, and all this Huxley thing, Brave New World. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right.
How
Um,
ironic, by the way.
isn't it though? Anyway, so and we're going to talk a little bit about what's happened with Emilia Perez, the Netflix movie that had so many nominations for Oscar. But let's start off with Captain America. And I know
It's a
everyone's
good
going to
one.
be kind of weirded out by the fact that I am going to review Captain America and not Chuck. But he saw Paddington in Peru and I did not. So
I got the better end of the deal.
say again.
I got the better end of that deal.
You certainly did. Oh my gosh, where do I start with Captain America Brave New World? I'm going to start with the positives. There was a positive in the very beginning, and the positive was that it gave us a nice little 3-minute recap. So out of the 1 hour and 58-minute movie, there was 3 minutes of positivity. It got someone like me caught up to the, I don't know, 254 different movies that have to do with Captain America and
Only 35.
it's something like that. And then all the different series that are available to watch, all the different characters from all the different universes. I truly cannot keep up to speed with that. And they did a nice job of letting me know, why does this Captain America, who is played by Anthony Mackie, I know him as and I'm blanking on his name, Chris Evans.
Yeah,
Um,
Captain America as Chris Evans.
Right. So this to me is a little off because now I've got Anthony Mackie, but I guess I'm not quite sure how it happened. And maybe Chuck, you could Chuck explain that to me in a little bit, but I'm going to just give everyone a little highlight of what happens. Captain America doesn't get along with General Ross, but now he does. That's played by Harrison Ford because they're kind of buddy buddies, and Harrison Ford's character of General Ross is now the president of the United States. And something has gone terribly wrong. There's a crisis, and Captain America and his buddy Joaquin, played by Danny Ramirez, go in and save the day. And then meanwhile, then we've got Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson is his name. He goes to visit his good friend Isaiah Bradley, who's been wronged by the government, and he convinces Isaiah to go to this presidential event. And wouldn't you know it, Isaiah takes a shot and tries to assassinate the president. But something weird has happened. There is an evil, sinister plan behind all of this. But who's behind it and how did it happen? And it looks like Isaiah has been wrongly accused. So Captain America, aka Sam Wilson, is going to try and right the wrongs and save his friend and save his friend's reputation. And that's basically it. This is one of the most threadbare stories that I could imagine. And let me tell you, a lot of these, in my mind, superhero movies are very threadbare, but this one is almost like you can see through that rug right to the hardwood floors. There is nothing there. Anthony Mackie, God, he couldn't have any fun in this movie. I don't know why. He was so stilted and so cardboard. As I said in my review on CBS 58 the other day, I had very low expectations going in, but it couldn't even rise to the occasion and meet my low bar. Harrison Ford was very stilted. Everything was very stilted. Someone who actually did catch my eye was this character named Ruth. She played, I don't know, some kind of a Secret Service agent who protected the president. And she's played by Shira Haas, and she is just eye-catchingly different, and she's fun to watch. She steals every scene.
That's a
Um,
nice way of putting it. Yes.
so this one was you would think too, I don't like a lot of fight scenes, and there were plenty of fight scenes, but they were so poorly edited and the
Yeah.
CGI was so poor. I mean, everything was just so poor about this movie. The production value was incredibly subpar. Um, Julius Ona is the director, and off the top of my head,
Um,
I'm sorry.
if you want to call him a director.
Well, he directed this. He's got that title. And I'm not sure what else he did do Loose, that Calvin Harrison Jr. film that we both really liked.
Right. And you couldn't think of a movie more different than a superhero film than Loose.
Right?
Now that's the type of thing that guy needs to be doing.
Right, right. I think that's probably a little bit more up his alley. Just this is a total waste of time, total snoozer. We were in the Dolby Digital Surround Sound Theater in the big cushy chairs that vibrate when something happens. And thank goodness it did, because I probably would have fallen asleep had that not have vibrated.
You know what's funny? That summary that you gave with so much sincerity of the film. That was the first 20 minutes of the movie. That
Right.
was it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is, yeah.
and that's what you're saying about this being so threadbare. Um, there are a lot of incidents in the movie, but there's not really much story. There's too much story and not enough story at the same time, which is a real interesting thing. When you have 5 screenwriters on the screenplay, this is what happens. And
You
there
know,
are times when I felt they must not have been talking to each other.
right? I ran into a fellow critic in the bathroom after the movie, and she goes, I don't even know how I'm going to write this review. What was it about? What was it even about? I'm like, I don't know. Good luck to you.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I liked Harrison Ford. I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
Um, I thought that once we finally get to the Red Hulk, being a comic person, that was very cool, the last 20 minutes, but it takes us way too long to get there.
Yeah.
Those of you who do know the Red Hulk, the explanation for his presence there is much different than the comic, and actually this makes more sense. I liked that.
Okay.
But one other critic said something about this being the 4th worst Marvel film ever made. This
Okay.
guy did his homework, and I was thinking, that's about right.
Yeah.
That's about right. It's definitely not in the higher category. It's definitely, as the kids say nowadays, it's not mid. It's definitely in the lower range of these films. They're still tracking it though at 190 million for the weekend.
Oh, sure. I mean, people are going to go see this, and whether we say it's a waste of time or not.
They're going to go see it now, but what's going to be interesting is weekend 2. How much is it going to fall off after word gets out?
Right.
You know, that's what's going to be interesting. They'll have a great first weekend, but then, and also I don't think it's any coincidence that they released it on President's Day weekend. You got an extra day to bolster that gross as well. It's trending at 51% on Rotten Tomatoes at the moment.
Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. Okay.
So 51% of critics on Rotten Tomatoes saw a different movie than we did.
Wow. That's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Although when you read some of the reviews, they're very begrudging. They're like, it's good enough.
Good enough.
It's fine. It's as if they want to just kind of give Marvel, throw them a bone in the hopes that something else good will come along and to kind of bolster them. But
Wow.
I haven't read a flat out rave yet.
Okay. Interesting. I'd be curious to see what's on that list of the 4 worst, and including this one, because I would put Brie Larson's Captain Marvel on that list as well, because she was about as stiff and cardboard as Anthony Mackie. I put them in the same category.
Yeah, she had no fun. No
Nope.
fun.
No, I would think you would have a blast doing the silly superhero jumps and all. I mean, have
It's
some
what you sign up for,
fun.
right? I
Right.
mean, you know what you're getting into. You would think so, yeah.
Do you want to share the quote that you heard from Harrison Ford?
Mm. Anthony Mackie had an anecdote that came out that, he, like most anybody else was intimidated by working with Harrison Ford, and, was a little stiff around him, and Ford pulled him aside and said, hey, don't worry about this. I'm just a regular guy, no difference here. Let's, just have some fun. He says, let's, put this aside and let's go shoot this piece of shit. So I thought it was just a general term, but I think maybe he knew what he had gotten himself into and couldn't get out of at that point.
Right, right. So I think we've dwelled upon this enough, and it did alleviate my fear of hating another superhero movie, knowing that you also hated it. And to your credit, Chuck, I have to tell you, I am not usually a fan of these superhero movies, but I love it when you explain all these characters to me. When we're just chatting about them, they are so interesting. Their backstory, the trauma, the tragedy, why they are who they are, and why they've gone on this trajectory that they have. That's interesting.
And that's what frustrates me, that lately these movies haven't gotten it right. I mean, the things I tell you, it's all there in the comics, the original source. I know people say, oh, comics, yeah, no, it's not high literature by any stretch, but that doesn't mean that meaningful themes and things
Right,
keep present there.
right,
So yeah, that's why I find it just so frustrating that so often lately that just hasn't translated.
right. So tell us about the other movie that is opening in theaters today.
Yes, Paddington in Peru, and I'm going to harangue you until you watch these movies.
Okay.
Okay, I've decided it's going to be
Harangue
my
away.
harangue. Okay, fine. You don't know what you're missing. I'm telling you, when you
I,
need a smile, when you need
I
a
will
genuine
try.
smile and a genuine uplift, these movies are the anecdote, because Paddington films somehow or another are able to put forth their message that of kindness and courtesy without ever laying it on too thick. It never comes off as maudlin. It never comes off as too much. It's just a natural consequence of the stories that are told about this bear from Peru. And at the beginning of Paddington in Peru, we get a little bit more information about his background. In the first Paddington, we see him being rescued by Aunt Lucy from the river that he's floating down. Well, we see where he actually came from before he found himself in that precarious position. And that background proves very essential by the time we get to the end of the movie. Paddington, as you know, if you've watched these films, lives with the Browns. In England, he makes everyone's life better, but he gets a letter from the Reverend Mother, played by Olivia Colman.
Oh,
Reverend Mother
perfect.
in charge of the Old Bears home in Peru.
Aw.
Yeah, saying that Aunt Lucy, Paddington's Aunt Lucy, isn't doing well, and there's something off with her. So Paddington and the family head to Peru, and once they get there, they find that Aunt Lucy has disappeared. Disappeared. So they've got to go find her, and they hire Captain Capt, played by Antonio Banderas,
Love
and his
him.
father, who have a steamer to take them down the Amazon in an effort to find Aunt Lucy. And shenanigans and surprises ensue. I love seeing, these great actors in movies like this. Paddington 2 had Hugh Grant in it, and he just rendered the scenery as this hammy actor. And he's wonderful. And make sure you sit through the credits of Paddington and Peru, because Hugh Grant shows up there as well. So I love seeing these accomplished actors like Coleman and Banderas do things like this. It shows that they can have fun. Coleman is hilarious. She has this grin on her face throughout, and it gets more and more rictus as we go through the movie, because you could tell that she is hiding something. And of course, her secret eventually comes out. And Banderas is haunted by his ancestors. All of them have had riches within their sight, and then somehow or another, cruel fate has snatched them away. And these ancestors speak in his ear, speak in Captain Cabot's ear about going out and finding the gold that is missing. And Banderas plays all of these ancestors: a Spanish conquistador, a Jesuit priest of all things, who has buck teeth and horseshoe baldness. It's hilarious. And he's in the priest outfit too. And then he also plays a female aviator from the 1920s. So he's having a good time. And the thing about these movies too that I love, they remind me of silent films, because Paddington is clumsy, and Paddington gets involved in all of these physical sequences, these slapstick sequences that are so imaginative. This time he's in a photo booth, and the chair goes around and the photo booth goes crazy and all of this chaos ensues, this wonderful physical comedy that all these movies have. And this damn bear, the technology they use, I mean, the technology they use to render these things. I mean, you can see the individual hairs on his face and just the expressions are so human.
Is it like Lion King, how they did that?
Kind of, but better. Because
Okay.
I never think, and this is how good these movies are, I never think I'm watching an effect.
Okay.
I'm always, oh, there's a bear. Oh, that bear is talking to that person. It never occurs to me that, oh, wow, look at that cool special effect. It just integrates completely into what's going on. And the bear is rendered so well through the voice by Ben Whishaw and the CGI that I'm convinced it's a real thing.
Wow.
And that really helps because you
Yes.
sympathize with him and he breaks your heart again and again. And
Am I
I
gonna cry?
I always cry at these movies
Aw.
every time. Every time. If you don't, you have a heart of stone. And you need to see the second one because Paddington goes to jail
Oh no.
and a big mistake happens.
Oh no.
Brendan Gleeson is in it
Oh
as
really?
Knuckles McGinty. He's the cook in the prison cafeteria, and you cannot question anything that he gives you to eat.
Okay.
Or Knuckles will take care of you.
You know, I got to tell you, Chuck, you always sell me on something that I haven't seen. If you think it's good, then I am going to see it. And I hope everybody else feels that way too.
Yeah, and again, a good kids movie isn't just for kids. It's
And
for
that's
everyone.
hard to do.
That is hard to do. We've seen people attempt it and it falls horribly wrong. Pixar tends to do it that way.
Yeah.
And the Paddington films always do it that way too. I've never read the books,
Oh,
but I'm assuming they must be very close to the books, which is a famous English, character in English children's literature.
okay. Very good. Thank you for sharing that, Chuck. I appreciate it. And I promise you that by next week, I will have watched all three of them.
One would suffice.
So if I watch just one, it should be the second one.
Yes.
But you know, I love Antonio Banderas, so I will watch the third one.
If you watch the second one, you're going to want to watch the other two.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just start with number one then.
Okay, good. All right.
So those are our two biggies that are in theaters. There's also, I don't know, Bridget Jones' Diary, Boy.
Bridget Jones' Diary about a boy or some thing
Yeah.
on Peacock.
Yes. Yes.
I
And
was I was really surprised when I found out they weren't releasing that to theaters.
I know it. I know that. I thought they had such a big following.
Me too.
You know, again,
I,
another series that I never picked up on. I never watched them.
I wonder if they will release this in theaters in England,
Maybe.
where it's big. I mean, the books are there and everything's set there. I wonder if they'll do that overseas.
Could be.
I never read the books, obviously, but I've seen all three of the movies. Enjoyed them.
Okay.
It's just Pride and Prejudice updated. That's all it is.
Okay. All right.
And then there's a movie on, is it Apple, called The Gorge?
Yes, that's on Apple TV Plus, and I have not seen that one yet. Have you watched it?
I have not. We will talk about those two next week. Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Two
And
great actors.
And Sigourney Weaver's in it as well.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I might be watching that tonight.
Yeah,
I'm doggy
so,
sitting for my daughter in Colorado, so I got some time.
yeah, so we'll talk about those two next week. And then I think we also have one next week called The Cleaner
Right.
with Daisy Ridley. So
And
that's
I
next.
love her. Yep.
Me too. Me too. Did you ever see that movie on Disney with her as the swimmer?
No, I never did catch that one. We don't have Disney.
You've got to watch it.
Okay. I'll figure out a way to watch it.
Yeah, it is. Oh, you don't have Disney. Okay.
No, I don't.
I'll figure out my password and get it to you. You got to see it. It's great.
Okay. All right. And Kelsey might have Disney, so I'll check on her TV while I'm here. So, but yes, that is on my list. I wanted to watch that, and my husband's like, "You're not going to pay for another app."
Yeah. Well, and when you watch it, my big complaint with that film was talk about a movie that should have been released in theaters.
Yeah.
I mean, it just begs to be on a big screen.
That's how I felt about Diana Nyad, the movie Nyad that said, I think that should have been on the big screen too. I loved that movie.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of similarities
Okay.
between films. I think you'll like it.
Very good.
How much longer do we have before Oscars are done? I think it's like 3 weeks.
I
Is
think
it
it's
or does
free.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to have gone on longer than usual this time. And I don't know why it seems that way. Um, it has not been delayed by the fires. I mean, they
Yeah.
delayed the announcement of the nominations and a couple of the events. But yeah, we've got 3 weeks before this thing is done. And it just seems, is it me or is it just seem drug out this time?
It definitely is dragging.
I'm so my fault. 2 weeks.
It's
God, I forgot February only has 28 days.
3, but no, it's 14, yeah, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So,
Two
yep,
weeks and change. Yeah.
yep. So, and the big scuttlebutt and is all about Emilia Perez and Carla Sofia Gasson.
Yeah.
And her, I guess she had some racist tweets before she deleted her account, but it was too late. Someone had found them, and the shit has hit the fan with that one.
Yeah. When I go online and you go to IMDb or other movie websites, you see the banner ads, and I've noticed the latest ones, she's not mentioned at all.
Nope.
She's not pictured at all. They're focusing on Zoe Saldana, and I hope she emerges victorious here. She really impressed me in that film, and it would be a shame if she and everyone else get taken down because of this. And I'm going to
Yeah.
use it quotes controversy.
Right. I was just reading something just posted a few hours ago in USA Today. I guess Carla said that's a real bummer, and I'm not going to totally quote that. That's an approximation. It was a bummer that all of this happened, and I guess Zoe Saldana's response to that, and this is a quote. She said that she is still processing everything that has transpired in the last couple of days, and I'm sad.
Yeah, I can see
So,
that.
yeah, they put that. I mean, people put their heart and soul into making these movies, and to have as much. I mean, this is a bizarre movie. This is genre defying. This is out there, and to get the recognition that it has gotten, and then to have I mean, a gut punch like this happen, that's just got to be devastating for everybody involved, including Netflix.
Right. And you and I, we both know people on the Netflix promotion team. They usually push about 4 or 5 films uh, at awards time. They extend, and this was the one they put all the chips behind this year.
Yeah,
Maria, the other one they were promoting kind of faded away, but this was the one they were all in on this.
yeah.
And really ashamed that all this has happened because when the smoke clears, I think it was a great film. I mean, I know that it has gotten controversy from the trans community. I know that Mexican citizens have criticized it as well.
Hmm.
I don't know any of that. I can't speak to any of that. All I
Right.
can look at the film and how it's presented, how it's done, what it means. And I thought it was really, really something.
It definitely was. And we both got a chance to meet Carla, and she was absolutely lovely. So to have this kind of controversy come out about her is it just doesn't mesh, you know?
She has said that she thinks that because she's trans, that somebody's out to get her. And, in the day and age in which we live in, I don't really doubt that, to tell you the truth. Um, so I'm not sure. Again, these comments were from what, 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
Right.
Do we not give any credence to the notion that people
Change, grow,
can
learn.
learn?
Yeah.
You know, do we not give any credence to that?
Well,
And
we do
all,
to some people, but not to others. I don't know about you, but I definitely see that in our politics today.
no doubt about it. Uh, and also, I think that when you look at what she actually said, I guess maybe I'm going out on a limb here, but it seems to be all taken out of context and people aren't looking at it correctly.
Could very well be.
So, yeah, it's really a shame. I will say this though, the Oscars this year, a lot of questions surrounding about it, and it's going to be, I think, hopefully an interesting show because that was the front runner, not now.
Do you know who's hosting it this year?
Conan,
How do you think he's going to handle it?
he's going to nail it.
Isn't he?
He's going to nail it. I mean, I'm surprised they hadn't asked him before.
Right? He's going to be the perfect person to do that.
I mean, the fact that they had never approached him before stuns me. And that's not to knock Kimmel. I've always enjoyed Jimmy Kimmel.
He was wonderful as well. And I think Chris Rock did a fine job too.
Yeah, he was fine. He was fine. Yeah, I mean, but I know Kimmel has said how exhausting it is.
Right.
And you know, hopefully he'll be back and maybe he and Conan will alternate or something. But he complained just how it takes so much out of him. But he's always done a good job. So no, I'm looking forward to Conan and Brian. I'm sure he's gonna. I can't imagine the stuff they're gonna pull out.
Yep, should be an interesting show, and it'll also be interesting because we always have a bet as to who's going to pick the winners, and let's see who wins this year. But we have a nice bet this year. The winner takes the loser takes the winner out for lunch. Much nicer.
Nice bet. We'll do a nice bet. Okay.
I handle it. I lose every single time. I am happy to buy you lunch, but I was not happy to eat those deep fried gizzard liver, whatever they were from the gas station.
Liver. That's a good, that helps with your blood and everything, It's protein. Pure protein.
No, it was disgusting. That was truly one of the most disgusting things. And I've eaten bugs before intentionally. And that was
I don't understand what the problem is with people in liver.
it's the smell. The smell is I smell blood. I smell iron. It's gross.
That's the point. Yeah, iron.
It's disgusting.
Okay. But eating another piece of flesh off the same animal is okay.
No, I struggle with meat. I really do. It's something that I am not real good at. I'm watching
I'm using air quotes here. You should see Pam struggle with a cheeseburger when it's in front of her, okay? It's a real struggle.
I don't struggle with the
You get it all in your fucking mouth. That's a struggle.
I do. I struggle with the concept. How about that?
Philosophically.
I struggle. I also know I'm watching this series. You know how I love these survival shows.
Right.
I love being outdoors and camping and backpacking. And so I'm watching the newest season of Alone, and they're in Australia, actually Tasmania. And that's on Netflix. I'm almost at the finale of the season. And they killed this little wallaby. And a wallaby is like a little puppy dog, Kelsey said. Kelsey was in Australia and she goes, "Oh my God, it's like killing a dog." And then I see
kangaroo, isn't it?
It's like a mini kangaroo, yeah. And I think I would probably die. I couldn't do it.
And that's the one problem I have with these survival shows, Naked and Afraid being another one, that these animals get killed. And it's totally unnecessary. It's for
right.
Oh.
Well, not only that, but how about, I don't know what they do in Naked and Afraid, but I know in Alone, they cut down trees, and, trees are valuable resources and they do so much for our environment, and they're going in there and, like you said, unnecessarily disturbing the environment. Is that a good thing? And I still watch it. No. Here's another show I'd like to alert people to before we wrap up here. There's a series on Apple TV called Surface. And it stars Gugu Mbatha Raw. And it is a thrilling, dramatic series that is now starting season 2. And I got to interview Gugu as well as another co-star in the series, and her name is Millie Brady. So check that out on our YouTube channel, Real Talk with Chuck and Pam. You'll be able to hook that up from our website as well, realtalkwithchuckandpam.com, our EEL. It was a really fun interview. They're never long enough. I had 4 minutes. It's not long enough. But they gave me wonderfully insightful and seemingly honest responses to my questions. So check it out. I hope you enjoy that.
Sounds good. All right. So that wraps up this Valentine's Day week. Next week, again, we'll have some stuff that you can watch from home, and hopefully a good Daisy Ridley film to talk about.
Good deal. realtalkwithchuckandpam.com. See you next week.